Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa, and this is going to be the What Makes a Great Author tag, and this is going to be the Great Authors tag created by Aldi Books, and the theme is basically what makes an author great to a particular person. Hi there, it's Editing Annalisa popping in to direct your attention to a couple of links in the description. They are links to a couple of videos on TikTok about a book called The Encyclopedia of Fairies, which is a medium popular book that I've seen a lot on TikTok and somewhat on here. Basically, I want to make people aware that there is some really bad ableism in this book. Kind of condones the mistreatment of disabled people. Not to make anybody feel bad who has read and enjoyed and recommended this book. There's no way that you would know if you're not familiar with the changeling trope and how that relates to disability, that this was an ableism issue. So these two videos linked below. One is about the changing the trope in general and how it is usually used harmfully, and the second one is about the specific use of it in the Encyclopedia of Fairies. They are created by Elle, who is a really great book talker who does a lot of videos about disability in media, specifically in books. And yeah, basically this book features a changeling. All changelings are evil in this book, and you can tell that they are changelings because they have disabled traits, specifically a lot of autistic traits. And the main character proceeds to torture this changeling to get the information of where the child that has been switched with is. So yeah, it's pretty bad, and I was thinking about reading this book, but now I think it would be pretty triggering even to do for a discussion video or something, so I'm just gonna let the work that Elle has done be the explanation of it, and you can go watch their videos below if you would like more information or just like much clearer and specific information. Thank you, and on to the video. So what great author have you read all the works by? And I have pretty close to read all of the works of Emily Rada. I think I might have read all of them. Emily Rada has done multiple series. There's the Del Toro series that I keep behind me. There is the Kichirando series, which is a sort of portal fantasy thing. And there's Roan of Rin, which is about a tween, maybe teenage boy, probably teenage, from a little village who ends up saving all sorts of places, starting with his little village, and then he travels to all sorts of places. I haven't read that series in a long time, or Kichirando. I mostly reread the Del Toro series because it's my favorite, and I've also read and possibly own all of the like extras to the Del Toro series, so like Secrets of Del Toro. First of all, gorgeous cover, and then lots of gorgeous monstrous illustrations. One of the things that I think Emily Rada is really great at is making up monsters. The magical creatures in her worlds are just the coolest, and Mark McBride does the covers and illustrations for all of it. I love these so much. They are, this series is the one that sparked my love for reading as a kid. The Del Toro series is about Leaf, a 16-year-old, who needs to travel around his country to recover all the gems of a destroyed magical belt, because once this belt is reassembled, it will force the Shadow Lord, who has invaded and has been occupying for the last 16 years, out of the country. And he has a couple of cohorts along the way. He has an adult cohort and another teenage cohort, which in a lot of, this is middle grade, you don't see as many teenage protagonists, and you definitely don't see that many like teenagers paired with adults as equals protagonists. So I think that's a really cool way of going at it. Then who is a great author who is a one-hit wonder for you? Because obviously people are gonna have different opinions. For me, N.K. Jemisin is a one-hit wonder because I have not liked her Broken Earth trilogy is too dark for me, and I have not liked what I have heard about some of her other series. I did enjoy How Long Till Black Future Month, so that's kind of stretching it a bit, because the one-hit wonder for me is The City We Became, which I really loved, and which I'm reading the sequel to. But a lot of her other stuff is too dark for my taste. Who is a great author who has had a few flops? For me, that's Naomi Novik. I have Uprooted and Spinning Silver up here, and I also have 3 of the Temeraire series, which are fairy tale retellings and alternate Napoleonic history with dragons stories respectively, and I think they're really great, really amazing. But I consider her Deadly Education book / series a flop because for one, she shouldn't have written an Indian main character when she's not Indian, and also I haven't liked what I have heard about that series. Who is a great author you read when you were a kid? There were quite a few. Other than Emily Rada, probably I would say the greatest was Tamora Pierce, who wrote the Lioness Quartet, the Protector of the Small Quartet. I'm not sure what Dane's series is called, but that one is also quartet. A duology about Alana's kid, and quite a few other things. And I just really, really love those books. I read The First Test, which is the first of the Protector of the Small Quartet, back to back like 5 times at least at one point when I really, really was into it. And then I read it a bunch of other times before and after that. But I loved it so much. I needed to read it again. So yeah, I love the way she writes friendships and fight scenes. She's one of the best authors of sword fighting scenes that I've ever read. Second only to Legend of Drizzt, that series. Who is a great author whose works are considered classics? For me, Jane Austen. She's my favorite classics author. So I've read most of her works and really enjoyed them. Pride and Prejudice is my favorite, and Persuasion is my second favorite. I love the movie version of Sense and Sensibility that has Alan Rickman in it, partially because of Alan Rickman, but also because some parts are added to it that makes the romance between Eleanor and Edward more fleshed out. So I like that actually better than the book. Who's a great author you think has cutting edge works? And I picked Yoon Ha Lee. This series that I haven't finished, Nine Fox Gambit, is the first book, is very cool and interesting. I really like his middle grade, The Dragon Pearl. The one that I like the best is Phoenix Extravagant, which I think is kind of cutting edge, if that's the thing, in kind of the way it treats its main character. Who is a great author whose work you consider impactful? And I picked Beverly Jenkins, who is basically the queen of black romance, in my opinion. She's very prolific, writes historical black romance, but also has done some contemporaries that are like a series of about this little town that is made to be, yes, Frodo, that is made to be a sort of haven for foster children, that I've only read like the first 2 books in. But yeah, I think that she's like 70 and she started publishing in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, I think. So I think that she likely paved the way and made it a bit easier for other black romance authors to get published. Then, who's a great author of nonfiction? I picked Carol Anderson, who wrote White Rage. That is one of the nonfictions that has been extremely informative to me. I found it really useful and like really firmed up a lot of the ideas that I had been told in the past about how white people react to black people getting rights. There are a lot, so it was pretty hard to pick this one, but I think I've only read one by Bell Hooks and one by Audre Lorde, so Once I've read more of both of theirs, I might change my answer to this question. Who is a great author whose work you do not like? Brandon Sanderson is quite popular. There are quite a few authors I could answer this with as well, but Brandon Sanderson is the one I hear about a lot because he does write in my genre, fantasy, my favorite genre. Whereas people like Stephen King, who I also don't like the work of, it's because I don't like horror. Yeah, just the things I've heard about Brandon Sanderson's work do not make me want to pick it up at all. Who is a great author whose works you have reread the most? There are a lot. Emily Rotto would probably win because, or Tamora Pierce, because I reread those books so many times when I was a kid, when I didn't have access to good book recommendations. So when I would find one that I really liked, I would just read it over and over again instead of trying to find new books. Ones that I reread more often nowadays are mostly romance authors, so Helen Hoang, Talia Hibbert, and Grace Draven. Frodo, you are perfectly capable of operating the cat door by yourself. And I'm not going to come out and look at whatever you want me to look at right now. So that is the great authors tag. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to leave an emoji, how about a cat? Because Frodo has been interrupting today. And I'd love to know your answers to any of these questions. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.